Yeah, Coach, what is your biggest goal that you want this team to accomplish, and what do you want to see for them in practice this bye week?
Well, what we want to do, Scott, really kind of twofold. We want to get a head start on Memphis, and we got to get better as a football team at the things that we do. So really putting a big emphasis on the fundamentals, the technique, cleaning things up from these first couple of games. As we say around here, there's still a lot of meat on the bone. Did some good things on Saturday, but certainly a lot to build off of, and some things that we're going to have to get a lot better at moving forward, especially with Memphis coming here in a couple of weeks.
What have you liked that you've seen from Blake at quarterback so far this year?
Well, I think he's been super productive. He's really only played 5 quarters of football in 2 games and has a lot to show for it. Was really impressed with his ability to run the football on Saturday. I think he's making good decisions. I think he's getting us in the right plays. I think he's playing with more and more confidence. Some throws that you'd like to get back that are throws you see him make in practice. I think when he gets more settled in, gets a little more confident, he's going to make those throws. And but just really, really pleased with how he's continuing to get better. And I think the more and more confidence that he plays with, better he's going to get. And, really, really pleased with him so far.
And on the other side of the football, what about Colin Ramos, what he has done so far, both his leadership as a captain and also from his linebacker position?
Yeah, he's continued to be Colin Ramos and everything we expect and hope for him. And he's our leader on defense, and he flies around. I thought he played really well on Saturday. And he's been a great leader for us too, Scott. Obviously, he's captain for a reason, and he continues to lead his football team. Mostly by example, but he's not afraid to speak up when he needs to. But he's everything that you want in a Navy football player.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Scott.
Joe Miller.
Hey, Coach, not to put words in your mouth, but it seemed like you were a little disappointed in the run defense against Bucknell. But then on Saturday, you guys were flying all over the field. You really stopped them completely running the football. What was your, looking back on it, what was the difference from week 1 to week 2 on the run defense?
Yeah, well, I thought we kind of stifled the run game early on. And, I think once the game kind of went the way that it did, I think they kind of abandoned it a little bit. I don't think they really felt like they could have success doing it. Their short pass game, screen game, perimeter screen kind of became an extension of the run game. But I thought our kids were dialed in. I felt like they, had a little chip on their shoulder from the first game. And these guys knew that we didn't play to our standard, despite the win. And I thought they came out. I thought the effort was really, really good. There's still some things to clean up on that side of the ball too, specifically in the back end with some coverage things. But no, I thought we played really hard. I thought we were physical, Joe, and flew around. Really pleased with that, and we'll continue to get better on defense. But this bye week's going to be great for us. It's things that we got to go and get better at and go attack. And so looking forward to this next couple of weeks.
Typically, sometimes during bye weeks, the coaches talk about self-scouting and kind of going through some of those things. I know it's only 2 games in the season, but do you do that at all right now?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. We're still, we don't have everything in on offense. We haven't showed everything, obviously, and same thing on defense. So we're still evolving, still putting things in and adding wrinkles here and there. But yeah, we certainly want to know, what our own tendencies are and things we're doing well and not doing well. And yeah, we'll look at everything on both sides of the ball and on special teams as well.
Obviously, with some time to prepare, Memphis plays this week, and obviously, they're going through that perspective from their perspective. But for you, does it concern your, or do you kind of go back and let's not get too crazy with preparation? Let's not put too much on the plate here just because we have extra time. How do you kind of balance that as a head coach?
Yeah, that's a great question. Something we talked about as a staff this morning a little bit. Yeah, I think you want to get a head start. You want to kind of get your base stuff in and how you're going to defend certain things. And but you, like I said earlier, you want to really go attack and get better at the things that we do from a fundamental standpoint, a technique standpoint. So we're going to do a little bit of both and hopefully balance that as well as we can.
Thanks, Coach.
Wags.
Coach, you talked all preseason about the importance of getting off to a strong start because that hasn't been happening around here last few seasons. How great does it feel to come out and have two fairly comfortable wins where you executed pretty well? You've got to feel pretty good about starting 2-0.
Yeah, you do. Certainly, it's good to go into a bye, off of a win, and it's just kind of where I hoped and expected we'd be, and done some really good things. Again, I just go back to how good can we be, how much better can we play, and there's a lot to improve on and build on, and so it's exciting to be in that place. Yeah, you'd like to go out and play perfect and all those kind of things, but we understand it's not going to be the case, and so. But it's good to get 2 wins, pretty convincing wins where you can get some of the younger guys in there, some of the backup guys in there to get some really valuable reps, take some reps off of your starters as well. So, yeah, I think we're in a good place. Again, there's a lot that we need to get better at, Wags, and pretty fast here. So, looking forward to attacking those things this week and next. And I thought we improved as a football team from week 1 to week 2. How much more can we improve from 2 to 3? And we're going to have to improve a lot to have a chance to beat a really good football team like Memphis.
Do you think the schedule sets up pretty well in that you've had your opening with 3 straight home games, including having a bye before this crucial game against the team that's picked to win the American Athletic Conference?
Yeah, I think the bye comes at a good time. It's obviously nice to play at home, early in the season, and good to be back in our stadium. Excited about what that's going to look like in a couple Saturdays here.
Pete Edhurst.
Brian, we've obviously talked about the tight ends, and over the first 2 weeks of the season, we've seen, Jay make catches. We've seen Miles Slade make a heck of a grab in the outer third on Saturday. You guys added this, and even without the guy you would hope would have been out there so far, you've seen other guys really step up and take advantage of opportunity. Just thoughts on being able to put that kind of stuff on tape. It just adds more now to the plate, obviously, of every team that you have to play, and see guys actually make the catches and make big plays that result in, obviously, key first downs for your team.
Yeah, I've been really pleased with the tight end group. I think John Williams has done a great job with those guys. They play our style of football. They're high effort guys. It's really important to them. Excited to see Miles get in there. He's came in as a quarterback, and we moved him in camp, and he's only going to continue to get better and better. And he's a big, long, athletic kid that can catch the football. Got to develop him as a blocker, and so he's a work in progress. But yeah, really pleased with that group, and it'd be great to get Cody back as well.
We talked about, last week from week 1 to week 2, especially defensively, the one thing that you hope improves and usually does is tackling. Did you see that when you went back and looked at the tape from your team?
Yeah, I thought we tackled well on Saturday. I think the thing that we can do a little better job of is our block destruction, and getting on edges, especially on the perimeter. But yeah, I thought we tackled well. I thought we took space well for the most part. The one long explosive play, beating us, the tackle on the sideline, we kind of stopped our feet instead of taking space and run our feet on contact. So those are good things to get on tape, after a win, and things that we work on tackling and block destruction every day. Coach Volk puts together these circuits that are really good, so guys can focus on more of the scheme stuff when they get in their individual. But it's something that we do all the time, and we got to continue to get better at that. You play really good people with good skill, and that's when the tackling really shows up. And always having an edge to your defense, and taking great angles to the football. But something we work on all the time, and something we expect to be really good at.
I know analytically the numbers are huge from this past week, and we start to run out of adjectives to describe him. But when you have a captain like Colin Ramos that's leading by example, literally every day and everything that he does. I mean, is that what we sometimes I guess we come to expect it from a player like that, but to see a guy now in this final campaign, stepping up and maybe even playing better. I mean, it's impossible with as good as he's played to think that he's playing better. But I mean, do you even see a higher level of play from him right now?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. You can't work as hard as he does year round and not be better. And he's such a great example to our other players, even some of the other classmen, just the way that he prepares, the way that he comes out to go to work every day. He's a model of consistency in his work ethic and the way that he approaches practice, and everything's really, really important to him, and he has a sense of urgency about the way that he prepares that I wish everybody in our program had. Some people are kind of built that way, but there's no better example in our program, for our other players than Colin, and the way he practices inspires the guys around him to practice at a higher level. And we got a few guys like that, and we need more. And, that hopefully that work ethic and that attitude is contagious. Our football team, I think it is. But that's how he leads our program, just by his example and the way that he attacks things.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Going back to that MBD play that you mentioned, how impressive was it, though, to see Ira track that guy down, who is a 4-year sprinter at USC, a high-level track guy, and Ira actually saved a touchdown because then later on he knocked out a pass on fourth down that gave the ball back to Navy.
Yeah, I tell you, Ira's got a chance to be a great one here. There's no doubt about it. And he's shown some tremendous flashes. First play of the game, gets in there, gets a tackle for loss on perimeter screen. And the second drive of the game, he white stripes the ball and in a really physical manner. We hadn't that corner around here that's shown some of that kind of physicality for a while. So we're really excited about Ira. He's another guy that, he's just, for all intents and purposes, he's a redshirt freshman. And he's going to continue to get better and better and start to play some more confidence and some swagger. But yeah, just love some of the effort plays from him on Saturday.
That caused fumble was pretty incredible. I didn't realize it until watching it on CBS how he just punched that ball out.
Yeah, it was an awesome play, and that's something we work on a lot. And we see the drills and practice transition onto the game field. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Wyckoff.
Coach, what's the advantage to having the bye week after the second game of the season?
Well, I think, you're talking about you improve so much during the front part of the season, and it allows you a couple of things, Scott. First is we're a little banged up, player like everybody is after your first 2 games, and so it gives you some time to heal up a little bit, and then it's to go ahead and get better at the things that we're doing, to double down on some things, and it's a good time to have it. And I think it's going to allow us to improve even more from week 2 to week 3. Just having that extra week, you're getting 4 extra practices in, and we can go at them and look at some things and evaluate everything in our program. Kind of let you breathe a little bit, if that makes sense. Getting back to, I think it was Pete's question about self-scout and really taking a look at yourself, and helps you get a little bit in recruiting as well. So there's a lot of benefits to having an early bye.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Reminder: we have 1 bye per month this year. One in September, October, and November.
Spaced out pretty good.
Yeah. Joe Miller.
Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to ask about the O-line. I mean, coming into the season, we talked about Jay being a new coach. How you think have that relationship grown? What have you seen from those guys? They've probably been on the field a little bit more as a group that in these last couple games, late in games, than maybe some other groups. Is that just trying to build some continuity with that starting offensive line?
Yeah, well, I've been really pleased with the job that Jay's done. I think the most impressive thing to me is the effort those guys are playing with, the way that we're coming off football. He'd be the first one to tell you we got to clean up some fundamental things and some assignment things that we're going to have to get much better. But I tell you, I've been really pleased with not just the O-line, but the offense in general, the type of effort that we're playing with. Haven't seen around here in a long time, so I've been really, really, really pleased with that. The first 2 games, we've had an opportunity to get some of those younger guys in there and play a little bit. We got started getting those guys in, pretty early in the fourth quarter. Wish I would have got Trey Cummings out of the game earlier. unfortunate what happened to him. But yeah, they're starting to gel, starting to do things a lot better. I think they trust each other. They're learning as we go, and but I'm really pleased with how hard they play and the progress they've made at a lot of little things. And it's going to be a great great week. As I said earlier, to kind of work on the fundamentals, especially that group up front. We've got to be able. We've had a lot of big plays in the first 2 games. I think 6 of our plays accounted for almost 250 yards of our offense on Saturday. What I want to see is us to be able to sustain 10, 12, 14 play drives without a bust or a missed assignment, and sustain those. And that's what we're going to have to be able to do when we play better teams. And you guys know when you can do that, keeps your defense off the field, keeps the other team's offense off the field. So we need to be able to grind people out. And in order to do that, we've got to be better fundamentally and assignment-wise on a consistent basis.
Is it one other from me? Is it tough to sort of straddle that line of when you put Braxton in, you want to you got to balance what's on the scoreboard and not trying to do anything too exotic with trying to get him some different reps sometimes. Is that tough to sort of straddle that line?
Yeah, because when he's been in there, we have not been able to really open the playbook up at that point. You're kind of you're running the ball and maybe not trying to get out of there is not the right way to put it, but you're not going to show a whole lot of things. But I tell you, every chance he gets to go in there, those reps are golden for Braxton.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Wags.
Well, you mentioned Trey Cummings. What is going on with Trey? Is he going to be out for a little while?
Yeah, he's going to be out for a little while.
You feel that, but Bouton's been starting at that tackle spot, right?
No, Trey started at tackle. Bouton started at guard for us. Okay,
so the change would be Nichols goes to guard and Bouton bumps out to tackle?
Correct.
Okay, and then so that means you have to test your depth. Who's next up at guard and tackle since you're always in...
Right. That's what we got to kind of get figured out this next couple of weeks, Wags.
You don't want to tell me now? With regard to Cody Howard, what's going on with Cody and when might we see him?
Yeah, he should be ready to go for Memphis. So, he practiced some with us last week. Just weren't 100% comfortable putting him out there on Saturday, and but he'll be ready to go today.
So, no offensive penalties. How pleased were you with that?
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Yeah, hadn't had a procedural penalty on the offensive line the first 2 games. I'm knocking on wood over here, but yeah, no turnovers, no penalties. We're 100% scoring touchdowns in the red zone right now. Those are all critical things that we've harped on, obviously, around here, and so we're really proud of that.
I think defense had 4 penalties. I have to go back and review exactly what they were. What was your take on defensive penalties?
Yeah, still too much. I think Ray had a face mask. It was close. They're always going to call that. Ray also had a pass interference call that was a little nitpicky, I thought, but they called it nevertheless. And then we had another false start. I think Tyler jumped off sides there late in the game on a hard count. And I don't remember what the 4th one was, Wags. But yeah, too much. We got to clean it up. But really proud of the fact that we didn't have any offensively. It's really, really good progress for us.
So there were 2 calls that they reviewed for targeting that fortunately did not go against Navy. Were not ruled targeting, but they were close. How do you coach that? I mean, you want you guys to lay the wood and smack guys, and that's in those instances. But it's close when you get up around that helmet.
Yeah, it is. It's it starts the way that we teach tackling. Our head's always up. We're trying to take our helmet out of tackling in general. I thought the first one was on Peel. His helmet was up, his face mask to face mask. And that was a clean hit, a really physical hit. And then the second one, the hard part sometimes is when you're going low on a ball carrier and they drop their head at the last minute. And that's when you get into kind of some of those unintentional, helmet to helmet deals. Really difficult. I think it's in regards to the rule, it really puts the defender at a disadvantage when he's trying to go low and an offensive player comes in and ducks his head. But they obviously they made the right decision on both those. Thank goodness, but it's tough. You get one of those and you're out for either the rest of the game if it happens in the first half, or the rest of the game, first half of the next game. So it was good that they'll return those.
Last for me, does the practice plan remain pretty much the same as a normal week, or are you going to alter some things this week?
Yeah, we'll alter it just a little bit. So it won't be a typical game week for us, but we're going to go get after it for sure.
Speaking of Ray, it looked like he was just inches away from probably 3 interceptions on Saturday.
Yeah, it was really close, and those plays are going to come for Ray.
Pete,
Brian, I want to go back to the peel hit. You just kind of mentioned it. It's how you teach it. It's as violent as you want it to be. Just having a corner that's willing to come in there, do that, explode on the quarterback. I mean, those types of plays, as you know, leave a lasting impression on a player for a couple more plays after that when they get dinged up like that. I mean, it's as good as you can teach it. Probably, especially coming from a corner.
Yeah, you love it when the corner blitzes get home, Pete. You bring the boundary corner, it's always kind of in the back of the quarterback's mind. It's hard to see that one coming sometimes. And so we got 4 corners that will mix it up. This is as physical as we've been at that position since I've been here. But yeah, I think I mentioned Ira earlier, making some physical plays. We know Pill will go mix it up. Like Duhart's the same way. Greg Johnson's the same way. So excited about that corner group, and their willingness to go put their face on people. And it's good when you have a corner that's a good blitzer.
I mean, I don't know what the catapult numbers tell you, but you ever seen a defensive lineman that pursues with the persistence and the intensity of Landon Robinson?
No,
I think he never gives up on a play.
Yeah, well, you guys know how athletic he is to be 285 pounds, whatever he is right now. But I thought the entire D-line effort on Saturday was outstanding. It says Coach Hall does a great job with that group. It's the most unselfish group on our football team, maybe outside the O-line. We keep track of what we call assists. So when a guy does his job that allows somebody else to make a play, we give production points for that. And the D-line had a ton of assists on Saturday. It was one of those plans where, we were willing to bend a little bit, just not break. Dropped 8 in the coverage a bunch, and we're only rushing 3 guys, and sometimes not in advantageous alignments. And but those guys never complain. They do their job, and they do it really, really well, and take a lot of pride in it. But really pleased with that group. I think we didn't have a single loaf on the defensive line, and that speaks volumes about those guys.
The fact that you've really only shown a limited amount of what your offensive package could be, the fact that you've gotten 49 and 38 points out of those performances, I imagine you got to be pleased. But the fact that you've been able to do it with such minimal, display, does that make it even better?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. I've been really pleased. Like I said, the one thing that I want to see is us put together a long, sustained drive. There's been a bunch of quick hitters, which is great. We need to be explosive. We want to have 8 explosive plays a game in this offense, and I love the fact that Drew takes shots to keep people honest. But we've got to be able to go out and sustain drives as well, and just churn out first downs. But yeah, to have that kind of production, I think we've been over 400 yards both games, and scoring a decent amount of points, and without having our first group on the field for the entirety of the game is encouraging. With that being said, all right, there's a lot of meat left on the bone, and we're gonna have to get a lot better as this season, through the season, the schedule starts to get more and more difficult, especially this one coming up.